Hi, so this is day 3 of the DHO chapter for chapter 1, and we are continuing our discussion on cost containment. And another way to cut costs in the healthcare industry is with home health care. So home health care is rapidly growing. It's a form of cost containment as it is less expensive to provide this type of care. It can include nursing, PT, OT, respiratory therapy, social services, and nutritional and food services. And so with home care, if it has nursing, PT, OT, and respiratory therapy, it's called skilled home care. So it's a skill. And then there's also some home care agencies that provide non-skilled care. And that care can include someone going in the home to help with cooking or cleaning, or just talking to the patient or playing games with them, might be taking them to the grocery store. Care is provided in the home or assisted care facilities. Assisted care facility is a facility in which people go to live because they need extra care. It is not covered by insurance. It is an out-of-pocket cost. So there's also skilled nursing facilities, which are basically nursing homes, which is Pleasant View and Corona. So a skilled nursing home, a patient needs extra care, and usually they're in there for long term, and that is covered by insurance as long as they meet certain requirements. But also within a skilled nursing facility is they have rehab beds, which is specifically for patients to go there for a short term in order to have rehab, which is PT and OT, before returning home. So skilled nursing facilities, they have their own PTs and OTs and therapists there that patients see. Assisted care facilities, that is essentially a patient's home. And so they have home care there in which therapists come to them. Here's a short YouTube video that you can watch when you go to Google Slides, just explaining what home care is and what they do. Geriatric care is care for the elderly. There's rapid growth in the future because people are living longer because of advances in healthcare, and it's not uncommon for people to live to be 100 or more. Baby boomers are now reaching the geriatric age, and they were born before World War II. So geriatric care, in the next 50 years, the growth rate will slow for all ages, but for older age groups will continue to grow more than twice as rapidly as the total population. So every other age group, they will slow down, but not for the geriatric group. They will continue to grow. More facilities are needed to provide care, and these can include adult daycare center, and that's someone where a family member would take their elderly loved one to, and they would stay there for the day, get lunch, maybe breakfast or dinner. And the adult daycare center may help them use the bathroom and just make sure that they're safe and give them activities that they can do. Retirement communities, there are some apartment complexes that are just for those who are retired. There's also some mobile home parks in which people have to be 65 or older to live there. In Florida, there's many retirement communities, or in the warmer states, they have retirement RV parks. And some of them are really nice in which they have woodworking that residents can do. They may have a quilting or sewing room. They have all kinds of activities for them to do. Assisted independent living facilities, which are assisted living facilities like we talked about. Here in Owasso, we have Welcome Home. We have Oliver Woods and Perry. There's Olive Branch. And there's also long-term facilities, which are the skilled nursing facilities. OBRA is the Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act of 1987, and it's regulations regarding long-term care and home health care. It requires that states to establish training and competency evaluation programs for nursing and geriatric assistants. So they must complete a mandatory state-approved training program and pass a written and/or competency exam to obtain certification or registration. So in the home care, they're often called home health aides, and nursing homes or hospitals, they're called certified nursing assistants. So the OBRA Act makes sure that they are well trained to do their job. And they make sure that they continue their education, periodic evaluation of performance, and retraining of assistants if the assistant does not work in a healthcare facility for more than 2 years. So if someone has taken 2 years off from being a CNA, a certified nursing assistant, or a home health aide, they need to have more training before they can return back to work. Telemedicine involves the use of video, audio, and computer systems to provide medical and/or healthcare services. I think this was done even more so during the pandemic, as people didn't want to go see their doctor for fear of giving COVID. And also, if you were thought to have COVID, you were also instructed to call your doctors rather than go into the office. An EMT at a scene can transmit medical data such as electrocardiogram to an ED physician. So then the emergency department physician can then monitor the data and direct the care of the patient to the EMTs. Electronic health records, and there's electronic medical records. So many offices now, they have a portal that you can go to access your medical records or to access your labs. It also helps to facilitate rapid transmission of patient information. When I worked in home care, we had our tablets that we took all of our notes on. And so you would go to see the patient, you would take some notes on the tablet. Sometimes you could finish all your notes while you were in the visit and you were sign off on it. Other times I would have to go home and finish my notes when I was at home, and then I would sign off in it and send it in. And so our company required that our notes were done within that same day that you saw the patient. So therefore, if a patient or a family member called about an issue they were having, they could go back and read our notes and see what was going on maybe earlier in the day or that day or a previous day. Medical records or results of tests can be accessed anywhere by authorized clinicians, or also if doctors' offices have a patient portal, then the patients can access their records through the portal. And that allows the patient to access the records. Surgeons using a computer can guide a remote-controlled arm to perform surgery on a patient many miles away. And of course, when that is done in the surgery room with the patient, with other doctors and other nurses to make sure if anything goes wrong, they're there and to evaluate the patient as the surgery is going on. A surgeon can also direct the work of another surgeon by watching a procedure on video beamed by a satellite system. Both of these are really nice because sometimes patients have to drive a long ways to find a specialist or to see a specialist. So this way, a surgeon who is a specialist could maybe do a surgery on another patient in another city. Patients can also test their own blood sugar levels. They can also take their own oxygen levels and their blood pressure measurements and other vital signs. So this yellow one here, that's called a pulse ox. This first number here is their oxygen, and the second number here is their pulse rate. Of course, this tests their blood sugar levels, and then a blood pressure machine here. Again, when I was in home care, we had telehealth available for our patients who were especially our heart patients. They were given a tablet, and it was very easy to use and set up. They were also given a pulse ox, a blood pressure machine, a weight, a scale, and then also a thermometer. And every day at a certain time, they would take all their vitals. And all the information was sent directly to the tablet. They would the tablet would say, your weight today is 260, is that correct? And then the patient would say yes or no. And then that was sent over to our corporate office, which was in Jackson. And there was nurses there monitoring all their vitals. So if any of their vitals were outside the parameters that the doctors had set, the nurses would call the patient, ask them to retest or ask them what was going on, or have a clinician that was going in to see them that day retest also. That's also with the tablet, if they wanted to call a nurse immediately, they would just hit a green call button and they could do a video conference with a nurse. So that also made it helpful for the nurse to see what the patient was looking like, to see if maybe they, were red in color or blue in color, were they breathing heavy. So the nurses could also observe the patients during that telehealth call. So this is another video, a YouTube video on telemedicine, explains it more. So again, go back to your Google Slides in the Google Classroom and watch this video. That's really helpful. One downfall of telehealth may be for geriatric patients that they may have a hard time understanding how to use it. They may need help getting it set up, or somebody there during their telehealth conference call to assist them with how to use it. Wellness is the state of being in optimum health with a balanced relationship between physical, mental, and social health. You maintain health and prevent disease because disease prevention improves their quality of life, and again, it saves costs. It's much cheaper to be healthy than it is to be sick. Exercise, good nutrition, weight control, and healthy living habits all add to your wellness. And wellness centers, weight control facilities, health food stores, nutrition services, stress reduction, counseling, and habit and sensation management are places that people can go to help with their wellness. There's definitely many more health food stores now, or buying organic is easier for some people. That's important. So everyone's trying to hopefully maintain their wellness more. Wellness is, of course, determined by lifestyle choices made by an individual and involves many factors. Factors and ways to promote wellness can include physical wellness, emotional wellness, social wellness, mental and intellectual wellness, and spiritual wellness. And we're going to go over each one of these individually. So your physical wellness, you want a well-balanced diet, regular exercise, routine physical exams and immunizations, and regular dental and vision exams. Doing all of this will help you to stay well and healthy and not get sick. And of course, you want to avoid alcohol, tobacco, caffeine, drugs, environmental contaminants, and risky sexual behavior. Emotional wellness is promoted by understanding personal feelings and expressing them appropriately. You don't want to stuff your feelings in. If you're upset or mad about something, it's much better to talk about it rather than stuffing it inside you. Some people do stuff it inside them, and then all of a sudden they erupt like a volcano. So that's not the healthiest to do. Accepting one's limitations. So for me, I don't do well at sports. I don't have good eye-hand coordination. Tried playing some softball when I was in middle school. I got a black eye because I kept my eye on the ball. So I just have to accept the fact that I'm not good at sports and just move on it. It's not something I need to dwell on and get upset about because I have a limit. Everyone has limits. You're good at some things and you're not good at other things. And you can work really hard to improve those things you're not good at. Or you can accept it and move on. Adjusting to change. This can be very hard for some people when their routine change. Some children, when they go to school and they have a sub, it causes them stress and anxiety because it's a change and it's somebody new that they're not used to. Coping with stress is important. So some ways that people can cope with stress is maybe reading, playing basketball, running, maybe yoga or meditation. Some people eat when they're stressed, and that's not the best way to cope with stress. For emotional wellness, also, you just want to enjoy life. Just enjoy where you're at, enjoy that time in your life, and try to have a good attitude and maintain an optimistic outlook. Can all help with your emotional wellness. Social wellness is promoted by showing concern, fairness, affection, tolerance, respect for others, communicating and interacting well with others, sharing ideas and thoughts, and practicing honesty. So social wellness has been a big thing during this pandemic, especially when people were quarantined and they weren't out and about seeing people, socializing with their friends. It was an issue that many parents have thought about when deciding if they should do online schooling or homeschooling versus sending their kids to school during this time, because of course their kids are going to miss out on the social aspect of school. And also going back to emotional wellness, again, that was a big thing during the pandemic also, as people were, again, home and not going out and about, and sometimes that can cause depression. So I had a friend who took their son to the doctors, and she knew that he was kind of down in the dumps and kind of grumpy sometimes. And the doctor asked, how long has he been depressed? And that just broke her heart. she hadn't put depression to what he was having, and during that time, during the pandemic, and in the beginning when they were supposed to be quarantined, they stayed home. The kids didn't go out and about, and their dad is a National Guard, and he had been deployed, so their dad wasn't home either. And so when the doctor said that, she decided that he was going to go to the store safely. They were going to go outside more, go to parks more. And after he went back for his a checkup for another issue, he was a completely new kid, the doctor said. So the emotional wellness and the social wellness has been a concern for many during this pandemic time. Mental and intellectual wellness. You can be creative and logical and curious, open-minded, and using common sense. It's good to have an open mind to what other people's views are. You don't always have to agree with them, and that's okay, but just be open to what they may have to say. Also, continuing learning. There's always something new to learn. Whether you're in school or you're 80, there's always something new to learn. You also want to question and evaluate information and situations, especially with Facebook. Just because it's on Facebook does not mean that it's true. So if you see something and you question whether it's true or not, look it up to see if it is. Don't just repost it because it sounds good or agrees with what your thoughts are. Learning from life experience. Any situation you go through in life, you can always learn from it. It may be a good situation, maybe a bad situation, but there's always something that you can look back and you can learn from it. Also, using flexibility and creativity is important. You want to be flexible. Sometimes things change, and when you have to solve a problem, don't just look at, there's more than one way usually to solve that problem. You also want to use values, ethics, and morals for spiritual wellness. Define meaning and direction and purpose. For many people, not all people, this is believing in a higher authority and observing religious practices, but for everyone, spiritual wellness may be different for everyone. Holistic health is care that promotes physical, emotional, social, intellectual, spiritual well-being by treating the whole mind, body, and spirit. So it may not just be going in and saying, oh, you have cancer, you need chemotherapy, but, oh, you have chemo, and you have cancer and you have chemo, maybe you should go see a counselor to talk about how it is to go through this type of treatment. Uses many methods of diagnosis and treatment in addition to traditional Western medical practices. So again, it just won't use like chemo. It will use other methods or treatments to help with it. Treatment is based on the body's natural healing powers. The various ways different tissues and systems in the body influence each other and the effect of the external environment. The patient is responsible for choosing his or her own care. So sometimes they may go to the doctor and the doctor may recommend something and the patient may say, yeah, that does sound pretty good. I like that. I will do that, but I'm going to do this also and put this to complement it also. And that's the patient's right to do that. Certainly the doctor can, voice his concerns or the benefits with doing that. But in the end, it's up to the patient to decide. So treatment is based on the body's natural healing powers. So one case you may do is eat different foods that boost your immune system to help heal your body. Foods definitely have effect on how you feel and how you heal. So there's complementary and alternative methods of healthcare. So the Western system is based on evaluating the physical signs and symptoms of a patient, determining the cause, and then treating the cause. So I get migraines, so I go to my doctors and I say, I'm having migraines, what can you do for me? And the doctor probably said, here's a medication that you can take for when you have migraines. Other doctors, or if you request it, they may say, let's look to see what you're doing. Maybe keep a food log to see what you're eating and see when your migraines are occurring. Maybe it's whenever you eat chocolate, you get a migraine, so you need to stop eating chocolate. So that would be a Western system. So there's been an increased trend of the complementary and alternative methods. So complementary therapies are methods of treatment that are used in conjunction with conventional medical therapies. So let's go back to the cancer. You have cancer, you're told you should have chemotherapy, and you say, okay, yep, you know what, I'll go through the chemotherapy, but in addition to the chemotherapy, I'm going to use essential oils because I think essential oils work and they're going to help me heal. So the essential oils complement the chemotherapy. Alternative therapies are methods of treatment that are used in place of biomedical therapies. So again, with the cancer example, you go in, you told you had cancer and you should have chemotherapy, and some people say, nope, I'm not going to have the chemotherapy. I don't want to get sick. I don't want to lose my hair. I'm just going to use essential oils instead. All I'm going to do is essential oils, and I think they'll heal me. So in that case, the essential oils are the alternative therapy because that's all they're using. So complementary, you do something in addition to the conventional medical therapies. And alternative, you forego the conventional method and you go with something completely different. So integrative healthcare uses both mainstream medical treatments and CAM therapies to treat patients. An example is chronic pain is treated with both medications and CAM therapies that encourage stress reduction and relaxation. So with chronic pain, they may still take all their medication that they need, but they're also going to be taught how to reduce their stress and relax. Most of the time when you're stressed, you tend to tighten up your muscles. You don't even realize it, but if you go around with your muscles tense and tightened up, your pain is automatically going to increase. So by encouraging someone to, one, reduce their stress and relax those muscles, then that can help with some of their pain control also, in addition to their pain medication that they're taking. Integrative healthcare also is based on the principles that individuals have the ability to bring greater wellness and healing into their own lives, and that their mind affects their healing process. So people are able to do things to increase their wellness, and they can bring healing into their own lives, and that their mind affects their healing process. So someone who's very, oh, I have cancer, I'm going to die. I might as well just give up right now, I'm going to die. More than likely, they won't have a good prognosis. They may, depending on the cancer, they may not. But someone who says, you know what, I'm going to fight this, and I'm going to do the best that I can to fight this, will probably have a better prognosis and may heal from it better. It recognizes that each person is unique and may require different medical treatments and a variety of CAM therapies. So they realize that what works for one person may not work for another. The plan should be individualized to meet the patient's own special needs and circumstances. So again, everybody is different. Everybody's circumstances is different. You may have one diagnosis, but you also may have 3 or 4 other diagnoses that you have to take into consideration. So by this, they individualize the plan to each person. With interest in holistic health, it has increased the use of CAM therapies. Both of them consider the whole individual and recognize that the health of each part has an effect on the person's total health status. So again, if you have a headache, yes, your head hurts, but what else is going on in your body to cause you to have that headache? Each person has a life force or special type of energy that can be used in the healing process. Skilled practitioners, rituals, and specialized practices are part of the therapy. Many are based on cultural values and beliefs. So those who believe in prayer will make prayer a big part of their healing process and their health care. Examples of CAM practitioners and as Ayurvedic practitioners, and they use an ancient philosophy, and it was developed in India. So they determine a person's predominant dosha, their body type, and they prescribe diet, herbal treatment, exercise, yoga, massage, minerals, and living practices to restore and maintain harmony in the body. So again, they look at that each person as an individual. They look at their body type and what they would benefit from. They would then tell the person what to eat, how to eat it, any other herbal treatments or what kind of exercise they should do to help healing process or to stay healthy. Chinese medicine, ancient holistic-based healing practice, is based on the belief that a life energy flows through every person, an invisible system of meridians or pathways, linking the organs together and connecting them to external environment or universe. They use acupuncture, acupressure, tai chi, and herbal remedies to maintain the proper flow of energy and to promote health. So the gentleman up at the top, pictured at the top, he is doing tai chi. And it's really being in tune with your body and listening to your body. Another example is chiropractors. They believe that the brain sends vital energy to all body parts through the nerves in the spinal cord. When there's a misalignment of the vertebrae, which are the bones, pressure is placed on the spinal nerves that can result in disease and pain. They use spinal manipulation, massage, and exercise to adjust the position of the vertebrae and to restore the flow of energy. So at the start of my career as an occupational therapist, I really didn't put much credit into chiropractors. And then my dad, he was in a car accident and had severe whiplash and went to physical therapy, several weeks of therapy, did the exercises he was told, and he still did not have relief. He was having a lot of pain, a lot of headaches. The headaches were making him sick, physically sick from them. And so he decided to try a chiropractor, and it was the only thing that worked. So for probably 2 or 3 years, he went on a regular basis to the chiropractor, and it was the only relief that he got. He continued with his exercises from the PT and that the chiropractor gave him, and he eventually was able to stop and is no longer needs to go on a regular basis. I've also taken my daughter to the chiropractor this past year. It's important. They give you exercises. You need to do the exercises when you're home. And some people only go to chiropractors. They don't go to their primary care physician, or they may not even have a primary care physician. If they get a cold, they may go to their chiropractor. Another example is homeopaths, and they believe in the ability of the body to heal itself through the actions of their immune system. So they use minute diluted doses of drugs made from plants, animal, and mineral substances to cause symptoms similar to the disease to activate the immune system. So their goal is to activate the immune system so that your body can heal itself. So they use substances that will increase your immune system to do what it needs to do. To either, one, stay well and healthy, or to fight whatever it needs to fight. Hypnosis helps an individual obtain a trance-like state with the belief that the person will be receptive to verbal suggestions and make a desired behavior change. I've never been hypnotized. I've never seen anyone actually be hypnotized, or I don't even know anyone who's been hypnotized that I know of. Does it work? I think it's pretty interesting. I think it does work. I was looking for some YouTube videos to show, and they were either way too long or not quite appropriate for class. But there was one video I watched. It was from America's Got Talent, and it has Howie Mandel in it. I don't know if you watch or if you know who Howie Mandel is, but he does not shake hands. He's a germaphobe, and he does not shake hands with people. And so he said he would be hypnotized, and before they even started the show, they told anybody in the audience that they did not want to be hypnotized to leave the audience. And some people got up and left. And so he eventually put Howie Mandel to sleep. And as he did so, somebody else they showed in the audience also went to sleep at the same time. And while he was asleep, he told Howie Mandel that you will shake my hand and I will have a glove on. You won't be able to feel it, but I have a glove on and it'll be okay to shake my hand. Howie woke up and he shook the guy's hand twice, actually. And then Howie went back down to the judge's table. He put Howie to sleep again, and he told Howie that when you wake up, everybody will be wearing a thin glove. You won't know it or you won't feel it, but it's very thin and it'll be okay to shake everybody's hands. Howie woke up again, and he shook all 3 of the other judges' hands multiple times, even gave them a high five. At first, everyone was laughing, and Howie's like, why is everyone laughing? And they told him it was because he was so funny. So it looks like it works. Maybe I know some people can be hypnotized maybe to change their diet so they don't eat as much so that they can lose weight or that they make healthier choices when they eat. Some can be hypnotized so that they stop smoking. So if you have any experience with hypnotists, I would love to hear it. Another example is neuropaths. So they use only natural therapies such as fasting, special diets, lifestyle changes, and supportive approaches to promote healing. They avoid the use of surgery or medicine to treat disease. So let's say, oh, you've got arthritis in your knees, you should have surgery, and they will not have surgery. They won't go to the pharmacy to get their medication. They're going to use foods and diets. Your food and your diet definitely affects how you feel and how well you are, or they'll change their lifestyle. So neuropaths just use natural remedies. So most CAM methods are less expensive than other traditional treatments, and many insurance programs now cover a wide variety of CAM therapies. So down here is reflexology. If you've ever heard of people putting Vicks on their feet to help them to stop coughing and sleeping, the reason why is because your lung area is right here on your foot. Your brain area is on your big toes. So I've heard of people putting oils or some calming, something that would be calming on their big toe before their kids go to school maybe, so that they can sit and listen in school better. Of course, there's meditation here. There's pet therapy. Pet therapy, you can use dogs. You can even use horses. I've gone to assisted care facility in which horses were walking around visiting people. This is biomedical. Oh man, my mind's blank. Biomedical or biofeedback. That's what it is. Sorry about that. This is Reiki or healing touch. And then this is hydrotherapy, which can be used for people and for pets. So when something gets more popular, then the government gets their hand into it also to make sure it's safe. And so as a result, the National Center for Complementary and Alternative Medicine at the National Institute of Health in 1992 was started. And the whole purpose of it is to research the various therapies and determine standards of quality of care. So many states have passed laws to govern the use of various therapies, and some states have established standards for some therapies, forbidden the use of others, labeled specific therapies experimental, require a license or certain educational requirements before a practitioner can administer a particular therapy. So essential oils, for one example, I know the government does not allow one bottle of essential oil to be said that it can be ingested, it can be put on your skin, and it can be inhaled. So if a company wants to make an essential oil that they say is safe to ingest, it has to be a separate bottle that says specifically it is for ingesting. And then they can make the same oil and say that that is for aromatherapy and to put on your skin only. So again, it would depend on the company. Some essential oils say right on there, do not ingest. And again, with the essential oils, there's many people who say it's not safe to ingest. Other people say it's safe to ingest. So with any method that you choose, whether it's traditional medication that you take or other therapy, you need to look at the risks and the benefits and research it to see if it will work for you, or to see if the risks outweigh the benefits. So that is it for that lesson. Be sure to let me know if you have any questions. Go back to the Google Slides in the Google Classroom to watch those YouTube videos, and I'll see you later.